Everybody, it's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. But today we're doing the latest episode of the new Tony Hillerman series on AMC called The Dark Winds. And it's episode 4?
Episode 5?
Episode 5.
Wait, is it episode 5 or 4?
Uh-oh.
Well, let's see. There was Monster Slayer.
K or Key or Kai.
The Male Rain Approaches. And then what was the second
Kai.
one? No, there was another one. That was K? What was the second one? There was a... maybe this is episode 4. I don't know. I just... Whatever. Episode 4 or 5. And that's a demonstration of something... in terms of what I'm going to talk about a little bit. One of the elements of this show that I'm going to talk about with this episode review.
Okay,
but
well...
it is called Hooghandi, which means home.
I don't know what to say. I didn't hear that word, and maybe they did say the word during the episode, but in terms of reading the books, I don't remember that word. I remember Yatahe and Danae.
Well, Safi, you don't even remember where Jim Chi came from, so...
I thought Jim Chi was always there in the books.
You still won't even look that up, too.
Well, okay, whatever.
Are you scared to find out the truth?
The truth is, I think he's always been there.
Really?
Yes, he wanted to be a medicine person. That's why this whole thing about being in the FBI threw me off and threw Ann Hillerman off as well. So,
well, Safi, should I start or should you start?
Well, the episode is a continuation of what's going on. What's going on? There were some killings. Who did it? There's a family of Mormons missing. Where are they? Are they still alive? And if they are, where are they? What about the little pregnant girl's abusive husband? She's this bad guy Indian who, he looks mean. He has a mean face, and in reality, I don't think he's Navajo. I think he's a different ethnic group of Native Americans. But I don't know that for sure, but he is a really big guy. And he always has a mean look on his face. And so, what is he doing? And that preacher person, who's supposed to be a Navajo and a preacher, a priest, whatever, he's a bad guy. He's up to killing people, even other Navajo, which is weird. And what are they doing? What's with all this money? And what about this other guy who works with him? Who is he? And so then you have our Jim Chi and Manuelito going to get together. It looks like it, maybe. And then you have Joe Leaporn, who continues to be the solid Joe Leaporn. And Marcos, from last episode anyway, said he was boring. And he might have changed this episode, or at least they may have changed his persona in terms of being, quote, boring. And then you have the little boy, and not a little boy, I guess he's a 20-something-year-old or maybe an older teenager, who was asked to dive into the lake and find the helicopter, which I guess he did, or he told them that he did, and then he goes and he has found, this was last week, this isn't new, I'm not breaking any silence. He found a helmet in a bag, which looked like a helicopter person, what do you call it, a flight person.
A flyer?
A person who
drives a flying machine?
A helicopter.
Well, what's that called? What's a person who flies called, Safi?
A pilot.
Oh.
A helicopter pilot. And last week, which was kind of funny because this happened at the very end, near the end. The boy had gone into the lake 1,000,000 times because he was determined, and he found a helmet in a backpack or some kind of carry-all pack for helmets in the lake. He had brought it out, put it in his canoe, his boat. It was just a rowboat. And I'm going to tell you, this is something that you would find at a garage sale or something. It was in perfect shape, like it'd never been used. It wasn't even dirty. Neither was the helmet. They looked brand new, which was I think it would be an error. They call it a certain thing when there's kind of a mistake in the episode. It didn't even look like being in the water. And if it'd been in the water, I think it would have been kind of a blackish, had black grime on it, and especially with fuel in the water. And we find out something in this episode, and I'm just going to say it, with the helmet, because I didn't see it last time because I think it was a far away view of the helmet. Him looking at the helmet, he was smiling, gleeful. He'd taken it out of the pack, and it had a bullet hole in it. So go ahead, Marco. So there's many questions that are going on, many storylines.
But what about in this episode?
What about it? I said there's a continuation of all these storylines. Like, where are all these people?
Okay.
What's happened? What's going to happen?
Don't go through it again. Don't go through it again, please. Just that took 5 minutes for you to do. This episode was pretty good. It was better than last episode. So it seems like there's a steady incline of quality. I think with the episodes, the first episode was pretty bad, or pretty just mediocre. Second episode, pretty mediocre. And then from there was kind of like a climb up. And this episode's been the best one so far, because stuff happened in it. I mean, that's one thing. Quite a bit happened. But I feel like I could give almost the same review for every episode at this point, because stuff happens, stuff is revealed, but then there's more questions. Like, that's been every episode so far. Really, the only episode that was different was the last episode, because a lot of it revolved around the coming of age ceremony where they chase the girl around over and over again until she falls down and bleeds to death.
That's not true. They do a lot of running. They just run.
They chase her and then they tackle her and get a touchdown. And so this episode was good. There's quite a few things to talk about. It's just that in general, I feel like for next season, they should work on making it more of a show. And what I mean by that is, if you take a look at Californication, the greatest show of all time, in that show, there's continuous story going on, but each episode is unique and each episode is different. Each episode can be really, really good. Like, there's an episode in season 3 where it all takes place in the one place where the main character stays, and the whole episode takes place there, and it's like a 10 out of 10 episode. And even though it's continuing the story they're telling throughout the whole season, it's a very unique episode, because I don't think there's another episode in the whole series where it all takes place in one room. And then there's another episode where it's a courtroom episode, and there's another episode where, well, I don't want to spoil it for Safi, but the main character accidentally, well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone else either, but it's kind of like a bait and switch where the main character accidentally does something, and then everyone else misinterprets what he accidentally did, and so it kind of like changes his whole environment for just the one episode. And all these episodes are very unique and different and special, Whereas with this show, I feel like the episodes are really running together. Like, as we said, we couldn't even remember if this had 5 episodes or 4 episodes, and I think that's a bit of a problem. It shows that I think the one thing they need to work on next season, out of all the things, is to have more distinct episodes and have more episodes that, like, stand apart from each other, even though they're telling the same story. If that makes any sense. Right, Safi?
I guess. I don't know.
Well, don't you feel like the show kind of runs together like a movie, the way that
Oh, yeah.
each episode, it's like it follows a formula?
I think the problem is, I just think they're setting up, if they are doing more seasons, which we have found out they are scheduled to do season 2 of this series, they're setting the whole lay of the land.
So you think that next season, because they have an established
I think this is like
season,
one book, and they're laying it out.
Okay.
For hopefully, but I enjoyed it a lot, and I think it is getting better.
Well, I do as well.
And
I'm just
so
saying.
happy, but it'll be interesting to see how certain issues get resolved.
Well, let's just talk about this episode. Let's talk about the specifics. I thought it was good. I give it like a B+ or an A-. I can't give it an A or an A+, obviously, because I don't think it's to that level yet. But still, it's pretty good, and it's pretty enjoyable. There's a lot that went on. The characters are all pretty good. There's a scene that Safi really liked. It was her favorite scene of the episode, where it involves a Manuelito taking a swim. That was your favorite scene of the episode.
Is so full of BS that don't listen to anything he says.
What'd you think of that scene, Safi?
I think it's funny. She's unafraid to do anything.
Take me through it. What'd you think of that scene?
Well, let's find out, what was she doing there. Manuelito went back to the lake where the boy had been diving for the helmet, and the reason why is because she found a kid she knows who has a horse, and
is that the
he
horse
was wearing...
Is the horse Taco? Because
no,
they kept on saying throughout the whole episode, they keep on saying, "I can't find Taco. Where is Taco? I can't find Taco." And I was like, "Who is Taco?" Like, genuinely, like I can't like remember which character is named Taco.
There isn't a character. It's an animal. I think it's a horse.
Okay.
Anyway, she was at the market. And, she wasn't, first she did go to the market. She found this boy, he rides this horse, and she talks to him. He's a really nice young boy. He's wearing this stupid helmet, and he had gotten the helmet at a flea market from this woman, and she didn't want his money, she wanted his hat. He had a straw cowboy hat. And so they traded. Basically, he gave her the hat, she gave him the helmet. So he started wearing that helmet everywhere. And so he was out riding around on his horse, and Manuelita spotted him and got the helmet from him for $1 and a whole bag full of peeled carrots for his horse. And he let her have it in exchange. So she took the helmet. She wanted to know where he got it. He got it at the flea market. She went there, and so she knew that and the flea market lady said she got it from that boy who had been diving in the water. So he wasn't there at the flea market that day. So she went out to the lake, and the boat's out there. So she's like, "What do I do now?" And she said, "Well, I think there's something wrong, but nothing is said." She just takes her outer uniform off with her underwear and t-shirt.
Really?
And dives in the water and goes up and swims up to the boat Well, his shoes are in the boat. He had taken them off before he went in the water, so they were perfectly dry. They were tied to each other so they wouldn't get lost, and he's nowhere to be found. And I think those bad guys killed him because they saw him get the helmet out of the lake.
So you give that, what would you grade that scene alone?
Well, she seemed to be the only one. She's like the person who gets things done.
Oh, okay, so you
because
give it an A+.
If it wasn't for her, Joe Leaphorn would have died in this episode. She saved his life because well, I don't know if you want to talk about that yet, but she'll end up saving his life.
Joe Sleephorn is sleeping at the rifle. So he
didn't have a rifle. He and Jim Chi had a handgun against someone who had a rifle.
So Safi, you give that
Marco's being an idiot, and I really don't appreciate it.
You give that scene an A+, and then you give the shootout an A- because it wasn't that scene.
Well, it was funny. Here, Jim Chi is supposed to be an FBI. This is like how the FBI is characterized in all of the books. They don't want to be there. They don't perform as well as they could because they don't feel like it, or they're just not used to the environment, or they have trouble dealing with the people. I don't know, but Jim Chi is actually he's supposed to be a Navajo. He's supposed to be one of them. We've heard all the story about him leaving, and he's helping he wants to advance himself. If he helps with this case and gets it solved, he supposedly gets this post in Washington, D.C., and he's a shoo-in for it. And so here he is. All he has is a handgun, just like Joe Leaphorn. They're going against a guy. He is not shy about abusing his pregnant wife and killing people, whether they be other Navajo or white people, which is, anyway, the Belangana, I think, are white people, and Dene are the Navajo. Okay? And
so what's the relevance? You're saying
the relevance is she's the one that gets things done, and Jim Cheese looks. He was actually. I thought he had gotten shot, not in a bad way, but that he'd gotten at least nicked, but he avoided. But he was awful close to getting shot.
Because Jim Chi is a beta.
Well, guess what? The bad guy knows Jim Chi.
Yeah, that was another interesting part. That wasn't expected. It just seems like Jim Chi is the total, like, what do you call it? Like
sellout?
when you have like something where you just like get to abuse it, like the show's guinea pig, or how would you call it? Like, or the show's black sheep, like where he just everything negative is associated to him, like.
But it's like that in the books, in a way.
Really?
He is impulsive.
Oh.
And at the beginning of the books, he likes to rush into things, and he likes to rush people along, and he's in a hurry, which is about the same thing, and he doesn't give up more of a thoughtful approach, where he makes more mistakes. And that is, but that's not that he's bad. He's just inexperienced.
Well, it just seems like everything bad is attracted to his character. Like, he's got this FBI storyline now. Somehow, like, isn't that strange? Like, so I don't understand. Like, he knows that those people are the killers.
He knew,
and he knew all along.
He did know about that guy. He did talk about that with the FBI agent. They mentioned his name.
Okay.
They knew about him, and they knew he was living in the area, and he was a suspect.
Oh, okay.
They just didn't have any proof.
Oh, well then.
Now they do.
So. Well, I don't understand why it would be bad that he knew him then. Like, just because he's a suspect, like, so what? Like, I guess because he didn't talk about it with Joe Sleephorn, he didn't tell him. There's this guy, he's probably the one who did it. And
Joe Leaphorn had already guessed that he was in the FBI.
We should follow that guy around.
He could have told him he was a suspect, but he didn't want to say he's going. That's what he's there for, is to go after him. But why not? He's already guessed he's in the FBI. So yeah, that is kind of a mystery.
Well, like, why didn't they follow him around too? Like, you'd think if he's a suspect that they'd trail him, follow him around. Like, they'd literally be able to follow him to the place where the Mormon family is.
But I don't know if they could do that. Because
So?
if you've been out to that area, which I have,
Can do whatever they
there's
want.
no way you can just follow somebody around because the area is so open, there's nowhere to hide.
Well, wouldn't that be an intense episode where they'd have to, like, figure out a smart way to follow him without getting spotted? Like, that'd be pretty
I don't know how they could do that.
cool.
And that would be, I guess that would be compelling because it would be extremely challenging. The area is completely open. There's nothing.
It'd be a great suspenseful episode. It could have just been a whole episode of, like, them following him around, and like they try to follow him without getting spotted, and you could see like more of him. Like, see, that would be a great distinct episode, instead of like just the way it is where it's like very formulaic in terms of they walk around, they question people, stuff is revealed, and then there's more questions. And one of the strange aspects of this episode, there was a lot of entertaining stuff in this episode, and one of my favorite things was there's this one guy. I don't know his name or anything, but he's this random guy who kind of looks like Craig T. Nelson, and he's like got this house, and he's like a rich mineral guy or something. And he literally just sits around all day in his house while like random people and criminals waltz into his house and talk to him about things like, "Hey, sir, have you ever heard of the Buffalo Society?" And he's just sitting there like, he doesn't care that these guys just broke into his house. Like, he just sits around all day letting people waltz into his house and talk to him about evil business opportunities.
He's a miner. And apparently he wants to mine around there somewhere. I don't know where. I didn't get that. I that's why I wanted to watch the episode, just to watch this part. Because it happened so fast, I wasn't even sure I watched it. Because somebody else in the house is watching this show called The Old Man. And I thought, well, maybe that was in The Old Man. I don't know. And so I guess it was in this episode, so I'm going to have to watch that again. I don't understand where he wants to build a mine.
Well, like the episode
and that
literally
would be illegal, so
the episode literally opens with like he's just sitting in his house, and then the two bad guys just waltz in there, and he's like, "Hey guys." And then later on in the episode, when the mustache man comes in, he gives that guy a drink. He pours him a drinky poo, and it's like, what is this? Like, does this guy literally just sit around all day and wait for people to come in his house?
I don't know.
Like, what's the deal with that? Like, there was no setup or introduction into that story or anything.
No, and that's what I was saying. That's weak.
And, well, it'll probably be revealed in another episode. Like, okay, that's another question that we have. Just another question. And I liked it. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was entertaining. I'm just saying, it was weird, because, like, the episode opens, and all of a sudden, it's this Craig T. Nelson character sitting in his living room, and the main bad guys just walk on set. Like, they enter stage left. Safi?
I don't know what to say. It happens so fast, and I'm like, where does he want to build a mine? It was like he considered these people. Now, who are these people? I don't know exactly which people. The whole reservation, a family, a certain family. I have no idea. That's what I mean. That's kind of a problem.
We also find out that the priest guy from Breaking Bad, he's pretty good. I just think that they haven't really given him anything to work with. Like, you'd think that they reveal this really huge plot point that I didn't even really get at first, because the way that they treat everything is so casual. But they reveal that he had a twin brother who was the real priest, and he killed him, and he's pretending to be him. And honestly, you could make a really distinctive episode where they just show that story, and they show both brothers, and then at the end of the episode, like, that could have been really creepy and a good horror episode, actually. So that was pretty strange, but I kind of like that story point, having twin brothers, and one of them is
Well, they know now that nobody knew this. Nobody knew he had a twin brother. And Jim Chi and Joe Leaphorn went to his school, and they looked through the records, and they found out that he had a twin brother. They showed their pictures, and one of them wears glasses.
And one of them doesn't have any K.
One of them
He was jealous of the other one who has K.
One of them is a priest or a preacher, and the other one isn't. So.
And what's the story there,
We figured
Safi?
out he is imitating this guy because he is doing something illegal, and it has to do with the mining guy. So I guess he's the one who's giving him all that money. I guess.
Yeah.
But why would it be in the back of pictures? That's what I mean. It's weird.
So we've already talked about the swimming scene, Safi's favorite scene. Okay, and then there's the part where Jim Chi goes to Joe Sleephorn's house, and Joe Sleephorn is like, have a RC Cola. Have yourself an RC Cola. Because they can't get real cola. They can only get RC Cola.
Oh, Marco.
Well, they can't. That's a typical thing, like getting off-brand sodas.
No, they can get
Really?
Cokes. Yeah, they've had episodes. They go to another town.
Why do they have RC Cola?
Shiprock. I don't know. Shiprock or...
They imply that, like, they can't afford Coca-Cola. They can only get RC Cola.
No, because I remember in the book she likes to have Coke and cheese sandwiches or something. I don't remember what it is.
So you're telling me his wife likes Coca-Cola, and that
maybe they just didn't have it available. They have whatever's available, okay?
Really?
And apparently they didn't have Coke. They had RC Cola.
I don't know. I kind of thought it was like a stereotypical thing where it's like only people with money can afford Coca-Cola. They can't. I don't know, Safi.
They go out to eat. I remember in the books they go out to eat. One of them.
We're talking about the show, though. What they did in the show, it was like all they got is RC Cola.
They haven't really. I can't remember. They haven't really gone into like Shiprock or any of those little towns, and like they would go to this diner, and there was a little lunch place, and they like to have the same things over and over and over. These particular characters.
Really?
I'm not saying all Navajo. I'm just saying these particular characters. I noticed in last night's dinner they had a Navajo taco. That was Mrs. Leaphorn had made Navajo tacos.
Well, I want to have one.
They're really big, thick pieces of like a bread, between a tortilla and bread, and they usually, it just depends. Like if you go to a tourist site, let's see, like Cocopelli Canyon or Chaco Canyon, whatever it is out there, Mesa Verde. You can get Navajo tacos, and they actually make Navajo tacos.
Can you get RC Cola with
Probably.
Navajo taco?
Probably.
Well, that's unfortunate because I want Mr. Pibb.
Maybe you can get Mr. Pibb. I don't know.
Mr. Pibb is my favorite soda. Safi, what's your favorite soda?
I don't know. Root beer.
Coke Zero.
I don't drink anything that's diet. I don't need it. I've lost 20 pounds in a couple of years. I don't need that.
Yeah, you need a Navajo taco.
I just need to get gain weight so the doctor doesn't get mad at me.
So Jim Chi, he comes to visit Joe Sleephorn and his wife. And they have a nice little dinner. And that's a fun sequence. You know, you can get the feeling that Jim Chi is kind of warming up to this environment again. And he kind of likes being here. And so that's sort of building the story of, like, him not wanting to be an FBI rat anymore.
Which is...
And he wants to start being the character that he is in the books pretty soon.
Well, he should be.
And so that was a pretty fun sequence. And then, of course, they announced they're going to keep that girl at their house, the pregnant girl. So what's going to happen with that is probably it's going to attract the bad guys to come to their house. And they're going to have like a gunfight or something like that.
I don't know.
And that could be another distinctive episode.
I thought that would have already happened. I don't think
I don't know.
I don't think they would do that.
But why the plot point of having her stay at their house? You have to think something's going to happen, Safi. I can guarantee it. You want to bet? You want to bet an RC Cola?
Okay.
Okay. I bet that something bad's going to happen because she stays at their house. That's the whole point, is that it's danger. And that she's a character who's in danger, and they have her at their house, and so something bad will happen, and it'll cause more drama. And then, of course, Jim Chi talks to the FBI guy. They have a discussion of kissing together, which was pretty odd. That was kind of weird. Like, you can already tell that the FBI agent, the way that he talks to him, you can tell that, like, they don't like him. Like, just by saying that type of stuff to him, talking inappropriately to him, you can already tell that he doesn't think of him as a
Why doesn't
equal.
he understand that then?
I don't know.
Because that's what I told you.
That's called plot convenience.
That's what I think's going to happen. Because it looks like he's headed back to Washington.
Yeah.
And because he's going to get this quote cushy post, which I told you, this place for an FBI agent is like Tanzania was to an embassy worker. They figured that a foreign service worker, they looked at it as a hardship. They called them hardship post. And they did not want to be there because it was hard. It's hard to live, hard to get your stuff. Even though you go, they have an embassy store. You know, on the bottom of these foreign embassies, if you're in a poor place, they have a convenience store that you can. We got to use it. This is how I know this, because my husband at Fulbright, and it's like going to 7-Eleven or something. They have all the stuff from the United States. It's imported in. It's kind of expensive.
Well, Safi, they don't want to be there. They want to be back at Hooghandi.
Well, there's no nightlife. You know, I mean, this is a place. People are just struggling and surviving there at this reservation.
I think reservations are better than Tanzania.
Well, maybe they are because they get federal help, but that's loosely speaking. Okay.
And then what else in the episode? Well, of course, at the end, there's a big shootout. And after Manuelito has had her standout scene to Safi, she comes to the rescue of Joe Sleephorn.
Well, she heard gunshots. And it was close enough by, she got over there.
She shoots fake Rambo in the arm, and that puts him out of commission. And that was surprising, of course, because he's the bigger character. He's the bigger villain.
Big.
And so you probably wouldn't have thought that he would get taken out first between him and then the shrimpy little fake priest guy.
Well, he ran away like a little girl.
He got on a horse. He got on, I guess that was Taco. He got on Taco and ran away. And then, of course, Jim Chi reveals he knew that guy and he's only there to solve the bank heist.
the guy revealed that he knew
But
Jim
he
Shee.
confirmed it. He could have
confirmed it. Yeah.
He could have just pretended like he didn't. He confirmed it.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, Joe Sleephorn beats him up. And I will say, Joe Sleephorn was better in this episode. Why? Because he actually did a couple of things that had some sort of an impact on the plot, other than like lumbering around and just questioning and like nodding his head down and kind of like just sleepily walking around. Like, he actually did a couple of things, and so good job. Like, see, his character is better now because he has those moments.
I mean, we saw what he did in Fargo, so I would think he could do it if he really wanted to.
Yeah. Well, that was a different character. That guy was,
I know.
That guy was evil.
He had a chip on his shoulder that was the size of Mount Rushmore. It was big bad.
I would give the episode an A-.
Yeah, I would too.
You would, but you would give the swimming scene an A+.
Oh, Marco,
right, Safi?
get off of it.
You would.
Poor Marco.
So I would say that's the best episode so far.
It just shows, I mean, we've watched other, you've heard us review other series. I guess Marco is watching The Old Man.
Yeah, unfortunately.
This is so much better than that.
Yeah.
And I know it's critically acclaimed.
It's
but I just...
this show is Marco acclaimed, which is more important than critically acclaimed.
It's fun, and it's fun to... And it's a beautiful... The area is beautiful, and the people, the food is really good.
And the characters are all good. There's no agendas. There's no political agendas of like...
No, it's just their lives. It's just them trying to be them. And themselves, and that's what's so good about them. That's what I like. So I don't even thought they have their own faults. They're not perfect people.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a lot better than the trailer made it out to be. Because I really didn't. I thought the show looked like it was going to be terrible based on that first trailer that I saw. So it's a good thing that we gave the show a chance and kept on going. And that we're stuck watching this show, which is a lot better than being stuck watching The Old Man and Better Call Saul, which is like being stuck to the back of a moving truck.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe like at the end of Toy Story 3 where the pink bear, you know, he's attached to the front of that big semi-truck for the rest of his life. Like, that's the equivalent of having to suffer through The Old Man.
Yeah.
It's like torture. And you can't even see what's going on. And you can see what goes on in this show. And it's colorful, too. I mean, there's no problem with... I talked about in the first episode, there was a lack of color. It's gotten better with that, too. So
and it should. The place is really... You'd freak out if you could see the sunset and the sunrise. Sunrise is there, and then you see golden eagles flying around, and it's just a beautiful place.
Are you sure? Is it golden eagle?
Yeah, they have golden eagles. They're called golden eagles.
What about bald eagles?
They're more of like, Great Lakes. They have golden eagles out there. Golden eagles go after the jackrabbits.
What other types of eagles?
Oh, out there, I don't know out there. It's the golden eagles, prairie falcons, Harris hawks, which I used to be a falconer.
And which one of those would be fun to be reincarnated as, Safi?
Probably, I don't know, fun. I don't know what he's talking about. He's in the goofy. I guess he's trying to avoid helping to cook ribs. I don't know, but anyway. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, because we just appreciate having feedback on what we do, but we like to hear what kind of feedback people give to watching these shows. movies, TV shows.
The only feedback,
show.
the only feedback that we've gotten so far is that retard who said, "Sweetie, we can't hear you."
Good boy.
In that first episode review, and it's like, okay, bye.
Okay, everybody.
Oh wait, yeah, good. Wait, are you ready?
Yep. Bye.
Bye.